In a previous video, we framed this mountaintop home from the ground up. Now it's time to finish it and hand the homeowner the keys. Here's the entry porch that we framed yesterday, and we're gonna get going with our Trex decking today. First, we're gonna do some blocking here and on the other side for our little border pieces, rim boards, whatever you wanna call them. So we got the main body of the deck done. That was super fast, actually. And just to be perfectly frank, I had some reservation using these hidden clips. I've actually never used them. I don't know why, just haven't. But I think it was actually faster overall. What do you think?
Who's Frank?
We're doing this last piece here on the front. Already done this band piece on the outside here. And I let them both run long and square. Now I'm gonna use an oscillating tool like that to miter both of these to fit perfect, and that way it doesn't matter if it's not exactly 45 degrees or anything like that. It's just gonna cut through both and they're both gonna fit together. That's what matters.
Can I borrow your pencil?
Oh yeah, here you go.
Come on, let's see what you got. I don't even know how to step, man. I did get the house.
Beautiful.
Let's see what you got, Ray. Ray got a hard.
It's another day and we're on the mountain, and our big project today is to get all the soffit and fascia done, and hopefully we can get that done in one day. What do you say, Jay?
No.
One day? We have vented soffit and solid soffit. The vented's going on the flat runs for the ridge vent, and the solid is going on the gable ends because it doesn't need to vent, so it's solid. Huh. Now, to shoot the soffit onto the framing, we're going to be using these narrow crown staples. So
Look at that. Look at that.
yeah, so that's what we're using.
I can put it anywhere.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
get
you
it.
can.
All right,
We
we
got
got
it.
it. We
We
got
got
it. It's, you can put it anywhere.
What did
Put
you
it
guys
right here.
do today? Watch Jamie hang a belt off his pants all
Put
day.
it right there if I feel like it.
That's what these narrow crown staples look like. Little bitties, but they have great holding power. Slide her on down, Jay. Now we've got this set where the teeth of the saw are just barely gonna cut into the base layer there. And I'm just gonna clean up these ends just to test everything out.
Hey, you boys all right?
Yeah, we're great. Where are you coming from in there?
You need anything?
Burger.
All right, call us if you need us.
All right,
Okay.
see you. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but we lap our first piece under, and then this piece will lap up and get cut vertical so that there's not a chance for an open little teeny gap right there. And I think it's probably a little better. We're now done with both the big gable ends. Jamie's gonna hop up on this front porch gable, and I'm going to hop up here and do the straight run on the front porch. I don't know if we'll quite get it all done today, but we're gonna be really close if we hustle here. I'm leaving. Your trucks are behind mine. Pretty deep snow. What I'm gonna do is do a little snow plowing with this machine. We've got several two-wheel drive trucks coming up the hill, and I didn't make it all the way up in here in two-wheel drive, so there you go. The house has as much snow inside of it as the outside. So next, I'm gonna get the leaf blower and so we can take care of that too. We have some of the windows are still coming. We have that window. We have the windows for this side as well. and I'm gonna go get this door. So we're gonna attack the corners first. Here's the pro tip, guys. It's freezing out here.
Yeah.
This is vinyl, right?
Yeah.
And vinyl gets brittle when it's cold because it's plastic, just like any plastic. So
hit it with our hammer.
don't hit the frame of the window with the hammer.
Good.
Put it against the side.
Oh, I'm not gonna hit it. All right, these guys are knocking it out. They've got windows, got the flashing tape on them, and just like the last house, drainage method, we don't tape the bottom.
We're gonna try to hang this window trim. I made this thing in the shop with dominoes to glue these pieces together. We're just trying something different here. So we'll see what happens. All right. So far, so good. Now, it's important to point out that we've left 1/8 of an inch of a gap. It's oversized, and that is for caulk. All right, that's what it's for, sealant.
It's got like a back quarter.
All right.
Check out these siding nails. These are 2.5 galvanized ring shank, not pointed. They're like clipped, and we're shooting in every stud and then between every stud. So we're shooting basically every 8 inches. This siding is primed that color. That's not the actual siding color. It's gonna be white in the end. And I wish it was primed a closer color to what we were painting, but it's not, so.
It's gonna cover good.
Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be 2 coats, I would say, to cover that in white. This is our Z-flash, I think you could call it. It's gonna go over top of the windows, over top of the window trim, and it will turn down over top of the window trim. We'll zip tape over the top of that. Just another layer of water protection. Keep water going to the outside of the house instead of in.
There it is.
The name of the game.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna install this front door, and Arlo always does this where you actually plumb the hinge side with shims before you put the door in, and that makes it super easy, you know, to put the door in. We've sawed that flush, and that's a good tip, I think, to help them go in easier.
And then we're gonna screw on the brick molding to hold everything here.
Right.
And then we'll shim it, screw it, everything's finished, and then peel the brick molding off and put our real trim on.
Yep. One thing to note about this siding is that it's symmetrical. Like the thickness is the same throughout, and both edges are primed. So if you make a cut like this for against your soffit, you can actually flip the cut off and use it for the next row. That is unlike the last project where it was wood siding, had a thicker bottom, so less waste. While we've been going crazy doing siding, Jono and Arlo have been installing doors. We've got the upper and lower French doors installed, and that's a hard task. Takes a little while if you want to get them nice, where they work properly for a long time. So nice job, Arlo. Doors are looking great. It's another beautiful day up on the mountain. Actually, it's not. It's pouring rain and 30 degrees. I'm actually super surprised that my guys even showed up today. They probably thought I was joking, but it's supposed to let up. So we saw the weather. Arlo told us time and time again it was gonna rain. So we were saving this side that's underneath the deck, that's underneath the roof, to work on this morning. And we even stacked a bunch of stuff down here where it's dry so we can cut inside. So all in all, we could have had a day off, but we planned ahead too well. That's a real shame.
Day off would have been nice.
Dang it. Yeah. We're getting going here on the bottom row below the deck. And these are some boards that we had from our last job that we painted white because they were painted dark gray. There's a lot of ways you could do this, but I like to actually hold the piece of siding up against whatever we're notching. Ooh, it's wet. Whatever we're notching around, holding the gaps on the ends the way we want it, and then I just give myself an 1/8 and an 1/8. And that way you know it's gonna fit first shot, hopefully. Here's that board cut and installed. You can see there's a little gap, and that's good, so the sealant has somewhere to actually go go in. You don't want the sealant just on the surface of that. It won't work as well. Where's Arlo?
I don't know. He was the one that decided to work today.
That's what I
He
thought.
said, let's work on the deck. It'll be nice. We'll get that whole siding knocked out.
And then he's not here.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, super smart.
Appreciate it.
Right now the guys are tucking this flashing, I guess a Z-flash you call it, under our deck band. And if you remember, we actually cut a little rabbet out of the back of that deck band so that would fit in there now. And we will lap our siding up under that so that water stays on the outside of the siding as it rolls over the deck band and on down.
Why does yours got positive traction?
Four-wheel drive. See you tomorrow.
We're cutting out these spacer blocks here for the outlets and stuff. And you know, there's a debate. Do you put the grain horizontal or put it vertical?
I don't know.
I
think horizontal.
I'm thinking like that.
Oh, no diamonds.
Diamond.
No, definitely not.
Yeah? Oh, dude, this is going to catch on like wildfire. I'm telling you what.
It's not.
Character.
Matt's back again with the remaining windows.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Here's a little trick here we're doing. We're just using these roofing tacks and leaving the head of them proud. And that's to match up with the thickness of this flange here, so that when we mount these trim boards, they actually lay flat. They don't like tip that way or tip down when you nail them. So we've done a lot of different things to kind of combat this situation. This is one way you can do it. Jamie's walking through the house discussing where different kinds of floorings are going to go, which it's hard to believe we're already there, but we're already there. We need to get that stuff coming this way. My question is, have you guys picked out which bedroom you think you want yet?
The biggest.
That one? Okay. It's good. You like it?
I love it.
Good. We'll be putting these boards on with a 16 gauge nailer. They're straight racks of nails. They're galvanized because it's outside. This little section here is the part that bumps out on the upper floor. And so we're still gonna have to get insulation in from here to here, but we decided that that was very much possible. So we could go ahead and put this ceiling in place now. From the back because it's pre-finished on the front. We don't want it to splinter out. And Arlo is doing another trick where he actually holds the saw. Go ahead and do it, Arlo. had just a little bit of a bevel just by hand. Yeah, and so now you're guaranteed that the face, the show face of the material is gonna hit before the back.
Hey, y'all, I think I'm gonna slide on out of here in a minute. Y'all good to go?
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
So here's the main important thing we need done today. We're in the house. Everything's been inspected. Everything's been roughed in, I hope. And we need to look at everything before insulation goes in here, because that can happen at any time. We just got to make the call. We're ready, and then they're coming. And they're going to cover up a bunch of stuff that later we won't be able to see.
Yep.
Problem number one, we had these tubs installed and there wasn't insulation back there. So now we're having to pull them out a little, insulate, and then put a vapor barrier on that insulation. So here's the other tub on the other side of the house that we just did this to. We had to just like pry it away from the wall enough to slide in that piece of vapor barrier stuff. And then we'll let the insulators take it up from there. We do need a piece of blocking that goes all the way up right here for the edge of like where the backer board will break to sheetrock. But we're gonna wait till after the insulation and put that, you know, on the outside of the insulation.
Here's a prime example of why you should look around before things get covered up here. This box caught my eye because it's a triple gang box. They're notorious for being wobbly and being crooked.
Yep.
It's because
not a great mounting system.
you know, the way they mount, they just aren't meant to extend out that far and be very stable. So we'll cut a block of wood and jam underneath of it and pin it in there straight.
A little more up. Keep coming. Whoa, back to here. Yep. We are making our way through this house and we finally made it downstairs to the kitchen. And that's one place we really need to check out and do something we haven't done. And that's to actually draw the cabinetry on the floor full scale and the bar so that we can place this light over the bar and make sure it's centered over the bar. I've got the cabinet dimensions already written here and I'm gonna measure out and mark them on the floor. The homeowner has selected, let me just show you, a 48-inch stove for right here. So I'll show you a picture of that. It looks amazing. I wish I had it. And Jamie's gonna check that the actual opening it fits in is 48 inches. That's important.
Yep, let's pull up the specs here.
What would you do with a 48-inch stove? I mean,
Dust it off.
that's right. Cook some macaroni once a month.
Is that right?
So we're going stove, 12-inch cabinet, and then the fridge. Now, why does this come up here? Good question I'm asking myself. But I do know the answer, and that's that there's a block wall to here, right under here, like 3 inches below this. So he couldn't bring it out of the wall because there's not room to like snake it in there. And so we couldn't bring it up like in this area under the fridge. So we're bringing it up in the cabinet next to the fridge. He'll kind of walk it over here and then out the side of the cabinet behind the fridge.
Yeah.
Bang.
Another thing here, this is a 2x4 wall and you need that insulation value. So you really wouldn't want that water line inside that
All right.
cavity
Yeah,
anyway.
that's right too.
But it's both reasons, really.
Yeah.
It really is.
I picked up a new paint shield, and that's what it makes it possible to, you know, spray up close to the soffit and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go up there and spray. Ray's gonna come with me and edge with a brush, which I hope will be in here. Yep. So we have a toolbox that's full of paint stuff. It's starting to look like a farmhouse now that it's got white paint going on. I guess it's hard to make painting like exciting on video,
Yeah.
but it's
mean,
a big step of the process.
Hey, it looks like our competition down the hill here has already got a machine on site. They got guys down there like looking at stuff, you know?
We gotta kick it into gear, man. We're not gonna lose to these guys.
I know. How about we get out of neutral here and at least get in first gear for starters?
I'm the one on the lockboard, bro.
I've been busy, you know, talking on the phone and stuff. So get this thing going. Yeah, by the way, don't you get a drop of paint on my flashing.
Try not to.
So these pickets come in a bundle of 10, and sometimes you can just square up all the pickets on the end, drop this joker in the chop saw, and cut them all together. But I don't always do that. The reason why is sometimes there's defects in individual pickets and they're not all oriented the same direction as far as their defects are concerned. So I take each one and I cut the end off that I don't like. You can't do that all in a bundle. It might take a few days for these to dry, but we do have the heat on in this room. And I'm gonna put my handy dandy fan just to blow some air through this.
You may have noticed our little rack system here, and we built this to do that because over the years we've had to do things like lay wood out all the way down the driveway outside to let it dry, and then pick it all up and then flat stack it and hope it doesn't stick together. Now comes the cool time-saving bit where we're gonna make a layout stick for each section of railing here in the shop. So we're marking our picket against the post on each end, and then we will do our layout from the center of that to the center of the one on that end, marking the centers of all the pickets here equally spaced. So we did the 89 and 5/16 section. Now we're gonna do the 99 and 3/16. Using this same jig, we're just gonna stretch it or push it tighter so that the layout changes to match the length of the next section. There you go. In about 5 minutes, we have a layout stick for each section of railing, and the layout on each section is different, but the spacing for the pickets on each section is the same. Ray, if you're going to be the camera guy, you got to make sure Jamie doesn't talk too long.
So I've got some really important details.
Cut him off if you got to, I'm telling you.
It'll probably only take 30 or 40 minutes to discuss this one detail. It's really crucial. Now we're at the point where most amateur carpenters get really confused. Picket spacing. Just can't figure it out. But we have this handy layout stick we made in the shop. Show some B-roll of that if you like. Now what we're going to do is set it on here or hold it on here. So we're making a center line mark. And we're not going to mark both edges because I think at this point in our lives
we can eyeball center.
We can center a picket on a what we call a tick mark.
If you're wondering, these railings are actually 40 inches tall, slightly more than that. 36 inches is the code, but they have small kids. They don't want to be worried about a kid climbing this thing trying to jump off of here, which my kids would definitely try to do. I want to make a note that, you know, a lot of this is shot together with 15 gauge galvanized nails, but on the ends where it's structural, where the railing connects to the posts, it's all 3-inch deck screws that will hold this thing really sturdy, keep it safe. This is Rex. You may remember him from the last house, Modern Mountain Getaway. He's our drywall extraordinaire, and it's time to get it rocked, right? Yeah. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, we'll rock this house.
Yeah, do it. So these guys are hanging the ceiling first, and the reason is the drywall on the walls will hold the drywall edge that's on the ceiling. See how there's a gap there and there? This drywall will actually push the other ceiling drywall up tight, right? You're fast, so fast. Here's the setup that they're going to use to get the ceiling here in this stairwell. Basically using a walkboard to mount another walkboard. You got to get to all the ceilings, and this is a hard spot over stairs, so I think it's a pretty good way to do it. We're gonna check on the drywall guys here. Check them out. Yeah, I'm ready. Wow, it's done.
They started this morning. This is one day.
Yep. And they are gonna be totally done. Booyah. There you go. Nice.
Finish some screws, but it's looking great. Better bring a vacuum tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a little dusty in here. Blue room. Moisture resistant. Drywall's blue now. It used to be green.
Used to be green, and then they did purple.
That's right. I forgot about purple.
Yep, now it's
so. And we've got a special product we're gonna put over that. We're working with a company to waterproof that so you don't have to do dirt rock or tile. Hey, we're thinking on the next job we'll hang the drywall.
Okay, I'll hang it.
Yeah?
Well, he said we, but he meant you.
I'll hang it.
Yeah.
I ain't taping or putting anything, no. I'll go to the office every day for a month.
So we've kind of gone through the house before Rex gets here. He's going to do all the finishing, just look at all the hanging of the drywall. And most of it looks great, but there was one spot that didn't look amazing. And I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it bumps out really bad right here. And so we're going to pull this sheet off and see what the problem is.
Okay.
Okay. Your end has to come out first.
Is it loose?
Yeah. You ready?
Yep. Don't break it, we'll have to replace it.
Yeah, we don't have any more boards. All right, Ray, I got the diagnosis of the problem.
What is it?
So our little truss here is lippy, okay? That means it's actually sticking in more than our wall, or our wall is sticking out more than the truss, one or the other. And we could, plane this, but it's got plates on it, so I don't do that. So what I think we're gonna do is just bop this thing with a sledgehammer one good time and see if it'll just knock it flush with the rest. If that doesn't work, we'll do some sort of shimming. That's all you can do.
All right, Hanson, let's see what you got there.
Bop.
Bop.
I don't know how I'm gonna. All right, stand back. Oh, wow.
What they say, bub? That's definitely one way to do it.
Yep. So here's our roof. And it doesn't look like a roof right now, but it's going to be a roof shortly, thanks to this whole trailer, which is a machine that basically takes those coils and turns it into metal roof panels right here on the job site. Here's a look at the guts, or the internals, if you will.
Same engine that powers the Porsche.
Why does it sound like a Harley then? I don't know. There it is, they're done. Each panel is actually specifically made for a spot. You okay with telling the trade secrets, Larry?
Oh, give them all away.
People will watch this. People need to know.
Don't tell them I'm going to tell them everything. Now, you got to keep a few things in the back pocket.
I'm up on the roof because it's finally time to do something on the roof. I'm with Justin. We're gonna pull a 6, 8, 10 triangle, which we know will have a 90-degree corner. We wanna make sure the metal is pulling perfectly 90 degrees off of this drip edge up the roof. All right, you wanna throw me that marker? Oh my gosh. Oh, got it.
Got it.
Okay, you good?
8 feet.
And I need to be right out on this edge here.
Pretty close.
Yep.
Right at the top.
8 feet, right there.
Perfect.
Got it.
This should measure 10 feet.
Yep, I'm right on the edge there. Let's see what we got.
Which side of the tape are you on? This side?
I'm on the uphill side.
side?
Uphill side.
That's spot on right there.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
I wonder who framed this house.
Oh, the Perkins boys.
Here's a look at this screw installed. We're gonna go about every 1 foot. We're gonna put it in the center of this slot so this metal roof can expand and contract, because that's what it does when it gets hot and cold. The metal will actually shrink and expand a little bit, and that lets it just slide here. That's why this is better than the type where you just drill and put a screw through the face of the metal. First piece has a lot of steps. Before we put this Z-bar right there, we got to run this butyl tape underneath of it so that when we put screws in, it'll actually seal. Okay, tight to the edge. Yep, I'm good. Okay, we've got the panel, we've got the Z-bar on the butyl tape. Next is our rake molding. It'll snap into that and it'll go over the edge like that, hiding all of those fasteners. We'll snap it in. Yep, roll it over. Yeah, we got the big hammer. this looks like a miniature sword, but it's a pop rivet, and that's going to hold these pieces together, the Z-bar and this piece of edge flashing. It's 4 something o'clock, but we've got about 3 panels to go to get to that pipe, and I think that's where we'll call it, because that's going to be important. Finishing touch on these hems here, I've got this crimper tool. Basically, I'll get it on there starting in the middle. And I'm trying to do it one-handed, but get a nice tight crimp on this, work it to the sides. Yep, and basically you'll end up with that in the end, which is a lot better than that, and that'll seal it off.
We're going to be ripping down the length of this panel. It's almost 20 feet long, and I'm hoping that this little gadget is going to make light work of it here. It's a little set of nippers that goes on your grill.
We've got one side completely done, but that was the easy side because there's no valleys or anything. This side, we've got these valleys to deal with, and that's going to be a whole nother level of complication that we're going to have to do, Ray. Now we're coming up on this valley. This is our valley pan or valley flash. We're going to hold it in place. At least that's what Jamie says. Right there. Jamie's going to mark this and then hem it under just like a piece of the roofing. There we go. Justin's got our Valley Z right there. Oh, there's one. He's got them pre-buttered with the butyl tape, and we just got to peel the backing off, and we get one shot, Ray, to stick these in the right place with this tape. So that's what we're going to do. Our next piece is gonna hook around the bottom of the bullnose, and it's also gonna crimp around the bottom of this little piece we just put on. And we can't get crimpers in there to squeeze that, so we'll just do a little umbop. And by that I mean this guy. We'll crimp it.
We're starting our first piece of metal that gets into the valley. It has a partial square end, and then it switches to this angle cut that actually goes up in the valley. So I have made a little template here out of a sample piece of metal. Why don't you display that for us? Oh, wow. Yep. Nice, okay. So we're actually folding this hem over pretty tight. So, I mean, because there's no way to get under it, like on the drip edge part you can, this part you can't. Wow, that was a terrible explanation, but.
Whoa. Whoa! Yes, I'm gonna walk straight up the side of a building, dude. Here, try it on my truck. My truck's made out of aluminum, see?
Crab, you want to see a real truck like this? Booyah! American made, kid. Come on now.
This is a Ford. This is made in America.
Whatever.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, it works. Whoa, it's different. Okay, gotta get used to it. But they do work, okay? Thanks. No problem. Here's a little comparison on these magnetic shoes versus regular shoes. Show me what you got. Nothing. Hey, look, I'm just standing here. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, these aren't so good on this slick roof.
So what you got here is...
These are the floating mantle brackets. They will get attached, well, we got junk in the way, to the side of a stud. We're gonna put a bunch of screws and actually use some glue, like construction adhesive,
Okay.
behind it to make sure it's really on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just give it a little bump there. Come on there. Whoa. Put a screw in it. So, get these averaged out right there. That looks good. Somebody get a hand on that one. You got her? I got her, sort of. Okay. Come on. Wow.
We got a few rows going here. We're actually using pre-formed outside corners, which looks nice.
Oh, it makes it
And
so
it's-
easy.
And it's so much faster than mitering each of them like we did these up here.
Easy.
It's another day and we're on the mountain working. Today's a big day, actually. The drywall's done, so we're gonna get in here and clean everything, which is a big project actually, and we take it seriously. We got tons of stuff here and 4 guys. We're gonna do that, prime all the walls, then we're gonna break down all of our scaffolding and all of our framing stuff. Jamie's got the big trailer, and we're gonna get it all out of here so that, you know, we're on to the finishing phase of the house.
We have a smooth finish on the walls. Drywall
Check.
guys, they call that slick. The ceilings, we used a very light texture. We call this a knockdown. They basically spray like a light orange peel.
They get a little bit of stuff there.
A light
Yeah.
orange peel, and then they knock it down with a rubbery trowel. The reason we do that is to texture it and use a flat paint. It helps to hide any imperfections. If you don't know, it is next to impossible to get a slick ceiling with a lot of light coming in from different directions to not show any imperfection.
Right.
It would be
very hard to get a good looking paint
I
job
don't
on
know. I don't know how you would do it. All the vacuuming is done. Now it's time to cover up the windows. I like to use 4mm clear plastic so you still have light coming in the windows, and I roll the edges into a little gasket, and I staple it about every 4 inches. That ensures that none of that blow through from the paint sprayer is gonna get on my windows.
Hate that blow through.
Gosh,
Hate it.
it's a thing.
All right, Ellis, we've got 2 sprayers. We got the Titan, which is the newer one, even though it doesn't look new anymore, and the Spray Tech, the older one. And 2 of us, 1, 2, we're gonna set one of these up per floor with primer. We're gonna go crazy, 2 teams, get it done. Is your respirator?
Isn't this not a respirator?
I think we're all ready.
Yeah, better.
We're all set.
I'm thinking maybe I should get in my truck and like turn the defrost on or something. What do you think?
Bro.
No? Tough crowd.
It's another day and we're on the mountain working. Actually, we're gonna be sanding the walls. And that's our first step. We're gonna get the walls smooth before the paint goes on, and that's super important for a good looking paint job. The reason you have to sand the drywall is to make the entire surface of drywall on top of the primer the same smoothness. So you may not know, but when you sand the mud on the drywall, it can fuzz the paper around that. And then when you go to paint it, those little fuzzies kind of harden and give it this texture that looks terrible, actually. So the sanding makes the entire surface smooth and even. And if you don't do that, you can put 20 coats of paint on the drywall and it'll still never look good.
All right, cutting in with brushes, no blue tape on the ceiling. Then we're gonna use this special roller. This is called a power roller, I think. And it has a special head on it here. I'll show you the place here where the paint comes through these little holes.
Okay, and this attaches to our paint sprayer, which is pressurizing the paint.
Yep, so then it goes into this special head here, which allows the paint to come through these slots. It has a gasket to keep it from spraying out the end, and then it's closed on one end, and it goes to a special roller pad.
Oh yeah, let me
here.
get the inside of that. The roller pad has holes on the inside of it as well.
So yeah, it saturates and fills the roller pad with paint from the inside out. And there it is, we're ready to roll. Literally.
Did you just say we're ready to roll, literally?
Literally.
Gosh.
Everything downstairs is done. I'm waiting for Ray to get off the ladder. We got to take this spray machine upstairs. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere.
You want me to put it?
I don't know.
I have a good
Right
idea.
there's.
I have a good idea where to put it.
Put it right there.
Hey, great job, guys. Good day. That was fairly quick, and now it's waterproof. You do have to put another coat of thin set over top of this, and we're gonna seal the bottom once that dries. But other than that, we're ready to stick tile.
We're gonna start right now. The first thing I'm doing is checking for a level on the top edge of this tub, because if it was out of level, I would have to account for that with a rip row and level my first row. Fortunately, everything's looking beautiful, so we can use that as our reference surface. We're not gonna set up a laser. We're not going to do any fancy work. We're simply gonna lay off of the edge of the tub because it is perfect. We're gonna be putting in these solid corner shelves. They're really nice, pre-made.
Marble.
It's gonna go right there.
Set your shampoo on, since there's no cubbies. We're tiling these shower walls, and we picked a 2x1 rectangle tile. They recommend splitting them on thirds, but that doesn't work out with the layout or the size of our shower, so we're gonna do them brick pattern, which is splitting them in halves. And this is the color that the homeowner wanted. And another thing I like about this tile is that it's a matte finish. I don't really like super shiny tiles, unless it's a subway tile. That looks pretty good shiny. We are putting a slight slope on these shelves so that water will run off instead of sit or run back towards the wall. And we're doing that by just adding one extra 1/8 inch spacer at the back corner compared to the edges. I'm also checking out every single tile before I stick it to the wall, because some of these tiles have chipped corners and things like that right out of the box from the store.
Something really important that we're gonna do right now is take out all the shims, obviously, but then we're gonna check all of the grout joints for any thin set that's squeezed out. I'll probably use this nail I pulled out, this little scraper here, to be sure that all the thin set is recessed below the face of any of the grout joints.
Real smart.
Spot right there. We're gonna be grouting in 2 stages. The first is grout caulking. Grout caulking is color matched to regular grout, and it's sanded, and it has the appearance of regular grout. It emulates the appearance of it.
Does it emulate or simulate?
No, it emulates it.
Okay.
I checked.
Just checking.
No, I already checked. So we're going to be doing that first. Before we use the regular grout, the caulking is going to be first in places where the tile meets the tub, because it's prone to crack there, and also in 90-degree corners like up the corner of the shower wall seam. Next, we'll mix up some regular grout in a bucket. We'll smear it on the wall with this handy grout trowel here. It's a rubber, it's a very stiff rubber. And then we're going to be using this handy sponge and bucket that is especially designed for cleaning up grout. The grill on the bottom is for kind of cleaning the sponge and squeezing water in and out, forcing the debris that is trapped in the sponge out. And then you dry the sponge off with this thing. Jason, will you take that tape down for me? That's one way to do it. Jason's doing a very important job checking for any of the thin set that's squeezed out between the tiles. We really got to make sure to rake that out, and we're going to vacuum in preparation for grout. Doing this grout is time-sensitive work. It's like doing concrete. You got to keep an eye on it and sort of keep a little bit ahead. And what I mean by that is don't let it set too fast in front of you. If it gets too hard, you're gonna work really a lot to get it cleaned off of there. If you're too early though, you risk the chance of washing out the color with too much water in your sponge, or removing too much grout, making your grout joints too deep. First board, the first plank. Walk the plank, matey.
If you're wondering, this glue acts as the vapor barrier as well as an adhesive, so there's no tar paper like you normally see under hardwood.
We've got a cut station set up on this little work table upstairs, so we don't have to go up and down the stairs as we're working up here. How's it going, Gluey Lewis?
And everybody's in my way.
Gluey Lewis in the news.
Keep coming, keep coming. Oh, probably.
I think even with that bar on the
Yeah, I think even with the bars on the windows, so up about another 8 inches maybe. I think that's pretty nice. The septic tank is right up there. They're gonna come down the mountain with these 4-inch PVC lines, and that's a gutter. What is that? All right, that's a gutter. These are 4-inch PVC. It'll come down the hill and then connect into a dome system, which is these infiltrator panels, which will be buried underground, leaving basically a hollow spot for this water to seep into the soil. We'll walk on down. Here's the end of the first line, and it's already buried, and then it'll go from there down the hill to this line. Whoa. And there it is. That's what a septic field looks like with these type of panels. Goes on out, and this is all perfectly level in the bottom so that water doesn't just run to the end. It can soak into the ground evenly as it goes. There's 300 feet of this stuff for a 5-bedroom septic system in this type of soil, which is one of the biggest ones we've ever had put in. Here's our kitchen area, and we're gonna start assembling the cabinets in the order that we want to install them. So we're gonna start with the upper and lower corner cabinet. This one's a Lazy Susan. This one's just a diagonal upper corner. There are instructions, and we'll get this. We're not gonna look at those. There's no reason to look at the instructions. We'll get it figured out.
If I had to make a guess,
These particular cabinets assemble using this little cam lock system that locks this around this piece. And we've had cabinets assemble different ways. This seems to work pretty well. And if you need to take them apart and try again, you can just unlock it and try again.
We're gonna start hanging the upper cabinets. What we need to do is have a line where the bottom of the cabinet is. I got the laser set up here. I would do the top, but my stand won't go tall enough to do the top, and I think it'll actually be easier to see on the bottom.
Time for a new stand. If you couldn't tell just from watching the video, what we're doing is screwing through the back of the cabinets into framing that's behind the drywall, and we're also attaching the face frames together on the cabinets with 2.5-inch screws, and we're pre-drilling. That's very important. These face frames can tend to crack pretty easily if you don't do that. Some people would just actually screw through the boxes themselves and attach instead of the face frame, but you have to shim between the boxes to do it that way. Next task is install the refrigerator panels. Arlo's working on that. We had to trim the bottom just a little to match the floor. You know, everything's not perfect. Trying to make it tight. And then there's a cabinet that goes between these two panels up there. Wow, look at that shadow. Woo! This is a shim for the refrigerator panel because the face frames stick out more than the sides of the cabinets. We're gonna shoot it on with these little pin nails that are microscopic. That's why they're called pin nails. It's a nice tool to have.
Yeah, you like how I keep that organized right there?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We need one more.
You know what they call that, right?
A drawer?
Dovetail.
This?
Yeah, see? Dovetails.
I wouldn't see it.
Part of the installation process is attaching these drawer sliders, which happen to be soft close, which is nice. And we also used varying techniques to attach any filler strips, including using a pocket jig and using screws from the back.
He's like, I gave you screws, I gave you 3 of them.
Now that all of the cabinetry is attached around the walls, we're gonna move everything out of the way and set the island. Now we're gonna have to make some marks on the floor in the specific location we need this thing, and then pull the cabinets up and screw some cleats down to the floor. That way there's something to attach these cabinets to. Here's our crown molding. So we're gonna put it on with the big swoop up, and these guys are gonna do it, and they're gonna give you a bunch more details about all the fun stuff in just a minute.
I'm ready to start installing the crown. Sometimes you can install it straight to the front of the face frame, but in this case, I can't because the doors come too close to the top. That is not gonna work. So what we're gonna do instead is take some of the scrap filler material, and we're gonna cut it and nail it to the top of the face frame, extending the face frame, if you will, by another 3/4. Then I'm going to completely cover that with this piece of crown right here. It will go right there, kind of corner to corner with the top of the cabinet. Is that right?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Putting glue on both sides, the end grain really soaks the glue in fast. It's hard to win, you know, with all this.
That'll hold it.
Hey now.
One last thing we're doing is we're caulking this little gap right here, tight to the ceiling, so that light can't shine through there mainly. And it also helps just attach it. But that way you don't get like a ray of light shining through the bottom that kind of looks funny. Whose caulk gun is that?
Mine?
Wait, that's not mine?
No.
That says Jamie right on it.
No,
Trust
buddy,
me.
don't be pulling that on me.
Arlo is working on something else now. We're gonna skin this side of the cabinets so it looks like all one big piece, because that's a base cabinet, that's an upper cabinet on a little stand that we made. And what's weird is they look the same color in person, but on camera, Arlo, these look like two different colors, totally. It's crazy. So we're gonna put one piece that covers all that. We call that a skin. That's the back of it.
Oh my gosh, they do.
They do, yeah. Here's the side we're using. So it'll look like just one big unit in the end. We don't have a track saw with us, so we're gonna cut this, and he's got the depth set that'll help, you know, not chip out. And we're also cutting from the back, that'll help to not chip out. And he's just a pro carpenter, that'll help.
Or a top up here.
Okay, let me just do that.
We're trying to fit this perfect right here. It's sitting on the floor perfectly, and now we're shaving. You're just doing this because you like doing it, aren't you?
I do like doing it.
Is there any other reason?
Believe me, I wish I didn't have to, but
No.
and that pencil.
Yeah, I don't
line
think
is-
we're gonna be able to use the scribe molding because those aren't the same thickness. So we're gonna have to fit it like we're doing. We've got to fit side to side. Now we're cutting out where the kick is, and we're just kind of doing this one step at a time, fitting one location at a time, because we only have one piece per each side to kind of do this. So that's kind of, I don't know, a safe way to do it.
Yeah.
We got the fit right.
These actually come with this finished toe kick, but if you do any modification, you got to put the second layer on.
Yep. Do you ever?
The material we're using today for window trims is this 1x4. This is a pre-primed material. I believe it's finger jointed pine. I really like it because it's super smooth, and we're gonna cut it up.
No knots either.
No knots. We're gonna be using butt joints on the trim. That simply means this is how we're gonna assemble them.
I wish I could say that it was our idea to start doing our window trims prefab like this, but it wasn't. This is a trick we actually learned from a show called This Old House. You may have heard of it. And a guy named Tom Silva that was on that show that started putting window trims in this way. We saw it and thought, that looks pretty scary because you're gonna build this whole window trim and not know if it's gonna fit until it's done. But finally we got over it and we tried it and now we love it. You got one unit ready. That was fast.
One unit down.
Let's take a look at
Now
it.
that we got all of our junk out.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
so
what.
it's pocket jig screwed in the back. So always be flush and always be tight. Yeah, we're jumping down to the floor here for this huge window unit. That's these two windows here are kind of one window unit.
All right, look at that. We got the bottoms flush.
Actually, this white one, this one might
All right, let's just set it in just a tiny bit and then get the top engaged.
Wow, I'm impressed.
More in.
Good job.
Thank you.
Arlo has this really nice square, and you can check outside corners for square. So we're doing that to check if, you know, the stud is twisted that we're gonna mount it to.
You can see right here, it's twisted.
Oh yeah, see that.
So
So we put the
on this
shim
one, we
on
put
that
the
side.
shim on this side right here, and we're pretty much pulling it up to square right there.
That's awesome. That is a nice tip right there. And that's a nice square.
There you go.
This is the first time we put indoors using a cordless, you know, trim gun.
Which is really nice.
It's really nice because you have to get in there and shut the door, and the hose is always catching on the bottom of the door otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the kind of thing that keeps me awake at night.
look, I don't want it to fall
That
down.
thing away.
All right, I'm done.
I'm not building a house here. This would be fine. Half the nails would have been fine.
I'm done.
All right.
That's pretty much it right there.
So I have the vanity cabinets now because I bought them when I was shopping. We're going to put those in and we're going to start the paint job on the doors and the trim. Let's go.
Sounds awesome.
A little bit of prep work here. We're going to take a sanding block and prep all of the trims and doors with a little sanding. It's important to do that because they're not perfectly ready to paint till you do that.
They are. It makes it feel nice and
It does. Makes a big difference. So
perfect for us.
yeah, that's right. Another prep work thing. We're going to go ahead and paint the end grain one good coat, one good heavy coat before we paint the rest. And then we'll second coat that. Ooh.
You don't have a dolly?
No dolly.
Ray!
Here's the deal. This thing weighs, 200 and something pounds. It's got the top on it. It's got to go upstairs to the master bathroom.
Ray, 1, 2, 3, push! Oh!
Wow.
That was tough right there.
Kind of wish I didn't see that.
You allergic to work? We've got all the cabinets inside and Jamie's gonna finish fitting them around the plumbing. Jason and I are gonna start taking the doors off the hinges and painting them flat. I've got a workstation I'm setting up. We're also gonna do something very important, is to label behind where the hinge is on each door and each door jamb so that the doors go back in the same location. They should all be the same, but they could vary a little, and if we get them all mixed up, it could be trouble. And it's important to brush these doors in such a way that it looks like wood grain. So we're brushing the panels vertically, and then these styles this way, and then cutting the vertical styles this way. We actually tried rolling it first, but it left too much texture. So that's pretty important to get a good looking paint job. And of course, you can see one coat is not gonna cut it at all.
Vanities like this that look like furniture that have little legs on it, like, they've become very popular. One of the problems is it's really difficult to get your baseboard into the sides of it and behind it.
Therefore, a lot of people just don't do it, which looks bad.
Yeah, well,
you can see under there.
I mean, you won't see it unless you're kind of looking under it, but I don't want somebody to look and see underneath the drywall and the edge of the tile.
These vanities do have adjustable little feet on them, which is kind of nice. You can level the thing out, but
I just don't like them. This cabinet would be levitating like Dua Lipa or something, and I don't want to see that.
I don't even what? Okay, so we're gonna take those out because otherwise it's gonna lift the feet off the floor, and where the baseboard hits it, it's gonna look weird.
It's
not
gonna
gonna look built in.
It's gonna look like a mistake, I think.
Yeah, so we're gonna get rid of those, and we'll just, fasten the thing to the wall.
It's not gonna wobble. It will be screwed to the wall.
Yep.
That way, I'm gonna go start cutting these. Yeah. Oh, I don't see nothing bad.
I just see baseball now.
Here's one of the cabinets for upstairs, and you can see she's got a little damage.
Yeah, did Mary see this?
Yeah, yes. Mary was with me. We got this at Lowe's, and I noticed it was damaged. We saw what the damage was,
How could you tell it was damaged?
yeah, the foot was missing. But we found it, and the guy said, "Hey, I can sell you this for like 60% off." And I said, "I think I can put the foot back on." And I talked to Mary. She was there. I said, "Booyah, I'll do it." So
Booyah.
this was like a $400 and something cabinet. We got it for like $160.
Nice.
So she was happy.
Bargain.
We're gonna try to fix this now. This is what the foot looks like, and it's
Yo,
supposed to
1940
be
call. Do you have
here.
anything with a battery on it?
Nah, dude.
Just a hand, you got it.
Cordless.
Okay, that's the old ones. We might want to get some longer ones. I think it's probably stripped
Or
at this point.
oh yeah.
That hit.
Hit what?
Bottom.
Oh, okay.
Good as new, I think.
That was worth $150.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that looks right.
Tiny screws. Son of a gun. Gloves.
Oh, it's going. Okay.
Woo. This is so when you hit your ball, you don't lose it.
It's like a ball retractor. You just reel that bad boy back in.
Seriously?
That was worse.
Nothing. Yeah!
There it is.
Got it!
Hole in one. All right, he's got about a 35 foot putt here. Oh, tied around your ankle. There's already been a lot of thought put into this stairway as far as getting the height of the step and the length of the step, called the run, so that when we add our finished material, it comes out at the exact same increment of height between each step from here to the top level.
And there's building codes about that.
Yeah,
So these are temporary and they're actually thicker than the finished treads, but we did the math figuring on the thickness of the finished tread, not our temporary treads.
just to make sure, I'm going to do a quick check of the riser height from here at the bottom through the run at the platform and up top to the finished surface at the top. The first thing I need is this platform to be decked out in the finished material, including the finished bullnose, as if this is just the upstairs floor. You know, it needs to be done.
But there's a little hitch here.
There's a little catch. We built this a ½ inch too low.
Because we were planning on a 1-inch finished material.
We thought we might use the tread material and just rip it in.
And remind me, how thick is the actual material going on here?
½ inch.
So we're gonna have to do 2 layers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. That's the flooring that's everywhere else.
Double. So what we did is we saved all the scrap pieces of the flooring. That is exactly 1/2 inch thick. And we're actually gonna glue and nail down a layer of flooring, scraps. And then we're gonna glue and nail down another layer.
That sounds kind of crazy.
We might actually run them opposite directions just for fun and for strength.
All right.
See what I'm saying? I think that's what I would do. I like to take a scrap board like this and run it across the nosings of my stringer and simply put a vertical line on that piece of scrap, and that there is going to tell me the angle of the stairs, because I don't know what it is yet. 36 degrees.
Yeah. Good to know.
Yep.
What we're doing now is probably the trickiest part. We're trying to get the angles and the notches and the length of these skirt boards right. And the only way we know how to do it is really to make a pattern for the top. Jamie's got a pattern for the bottom. We'll fit those with the angles and the notches, and then we'll measure, you know, from a point on these to get the real number for the real board.
Yeah, now we need some information from this pattern though. We'll get it lined up right there. That is, I'm just gonna very lightly draw that on there. And then right here is our flat cut.
Top of the floor.
Oh, I do need to have this. That is
And the
important.
notch.
We're gonna bring a notch with it because that was working out real nice.
That's why we needed a pattern. You'd have never got that first shot. That's the top of our finished flooring. And then remember, we're gonna let it extend past a little, then we'll scribe the back to cut it along the vertical part of the drywall corner, all that stuff.
Here we go.
Got it, it'll fit.
Isn't that pretty?
We've got it in, finally. That took, I don't want to say how long.
Longer than it should.
So now we're gonna scribe the back here and try to do this one-handed. A little long, just in case. Jamie's gonna scribe the bottom down there on the back. Up next, we're gonna go up this run of stairs with all of the risers. We're gonna use finish nails and construction adhesive to make sure nothing squeaks or moves, and then we'll come back with all the stair treads. So we're gonna do another little trick here is we've cut one tread square, and we're going to use it to check all of the sides against the skirt board to see if we need to cut them, you know, a little out of square anywhere, because I bet they will. So right here, you can see this side is square. We're bumping this tight to the riser. Let's bump it that way. And on this side, we're going to need to add a 1/16 of an inch, or maybe 3/32. So pull that up. I'm going to write plus 3/32 right there. And so I'll measure the back, and then I'll tell you plus 3/32. And then we're going to go on up doing this same method so we get all these perfect. We're done!
Yay!
Psych. Actually, we got to do a whole nother set around the corner. So we did a couple things off camera last week while I was moving. We stained the stairs and we did a coat of poly on the stairs. We'll show you that really quickly. I think we got power out here.
What?
Let's light it up. The house is too long. It's alive. Who am I?
Oh my gosh.
I'm Ray.
Oh gosh.
Probably gonna be itching for a week.
Oh yeah.
That was stupid.
Here's our door to the basement stair. Whoa, look out for that stairwell. And it's going to be a fire-rated door that's metal. And what are you up to?
I'm gonna cut this and install it, and then I can put the door in finally. So this is kind of a hold up here, keeping us from putting the door in. So I'm ready to get it done and get this door put in.
It's amazing how good those staples hold. Isn't it incredible? There it is.
You can see this going on right here. You know, this is a really critical piece of wood, and you're going to be stepping on it. So I want it to be really seated up good, and you can see it's just really not looking good here. So I'm going to take my hand plane and a chisel, I think, and get this flattened out so this is all flushed up in one, you know, flat surface. And I'm going to glue it down and shoot it.
Here's the dilemma. This door cannot swing out over the stairs by code. And we don't want this scrubbing all across the wood floor and scraping it. So we're going to think about this for just a minute before we actually cut this, and then we will cut it.
Cut it off.
Final decision. We're going to leave a 1/16 of an inch kind of gap.
We're going to test it out.
And then we're going to test it. If we don't like it, we can cut it more.
Yep.
Play it safe. Here's where our pocket door is going. We have this metal framing from Cavity Sliders. Here's all the hardware here. See this?
Yeah,
it's got an adhesive back.
Yeah, so.
That was supposed to have gone all the way back in there before we closed the wall in.
Really?
Yeah. So we got to figure that out. That's one way to do it. We're going to test this soft close feature now, see if we understand how it works. Go ahead, John-O. Huh. Problem number 2, we got the door in, but the roller kept hitting something. I think you see what it is. Hey, you got a bit extender in your truck?
I do. How long you need it?
Long as you got. We have assembled the longest 90-degree extension driver ever seen by man.
What in the world are you two doing?
Hey, you gotta spin it, but it's not.
Oh, it's spin one time? That's it.
Wow.
I can't believe that worked.
Pretty good, John. Oh, nice job, bub.
Here we go, 3rd try. Soft close, check, and we open, all the way up, so. Wonderful. Now that the door is in, we're gonna eat some bacon.
Bacon!
Now, these little clips are not bacon. They are friction fit into this channel, and then we are gonna rabbet our trim. Easy. Basically the same as this channel, and then the trim will just clip on and there'll be some adhesive. Last step here is to shoot on the face trim, and obviously we got to use short nails so you don't shoot into the door, and you can only shoot right there because that's metal behind there.
We don't even need a nail. Okay, now where am I supposed to nail?
Math doesn't lie. You got a 2-inch nail.
All right.
So
Math doesn't lie.
right there.
Okay, I'm thinking I'm just gonna do my reveal shot there. Next thing on my list of things to do is to top out this cap on this half wall here in the stairwell. I'm going to use a piece of 1x8 for the top, and I'm going to use some rip strips for a little trim underneath it. I'm actually going to be ripping those down to about 1 5/8 wide, and then we're going to rip them to only a 1/2 inch thick because I don't want this cap rail to be so massively wide. These are just some scraps. I'm going to nail down a few pieces of scrap that'll allow me to register my rip strips up to this surface as if it's the finish cap, but I don't want to do the finish cap first. So this will allow me to get my fit on the rip pieces, and then I will measure the width and decide how wide I want the top cap and how much it's going to hang over. And then also it'll help me to center it on my finished installed pieces instead of just a drywall and centering it on that. It'll be easier for me to center it.
Next task, replace this plywood piece with a real countertop.
Right.
And we want to cut the same amount off both sides.
I just resharpened it just for this now. Oh, that's going to leave a razor sharp line right there. I'm just going to mark the front and the back, and I'm going to mark a new straight edge because I don't want to.
No, we don't want to cut that.
I don't want to trace that. In order to give myself the best chance of not messing this up at home, I'm going to build an actual complete representation of this handrail, including the little mounting plate right here that I'm going to have welded on. It'll have 4 holes in it for screws. And so I'm going to go ahead and just nail that on there.
I'm good right there.
Okay. It's looking pretty nice.
All right. Very carefully wrapped in here is all of the handrails for the stairwells. Yeah. And Jamie's been building these things at his house. How long?
2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days total.
So
that includes paint and dry time.
Okay, so we're gonna cut to Jamie building these things. We're gonna show you how we did it. A lot of work doing all that.
Well, yeah, that's why I videoed it, so you could, so you wouldn't think I was just lollygagging around.
I just zoomed in. Thanks for doing that.
Oh, it's so close. If it looks good, it is good. All right, I'm gonna go for it right there. I'm good, baby. What I'm gonna do? Use the old magnet here, and let's go ahead and. Whoops! I just dropped down. Nope, I'm back up. Nope. All right, let me bring it up here.
We're pre-drilling the little decorative kind of wood screw there.
Yeah,
It's solid.
feels great.
47 7/8. Ooh, 47 7/8. Seven and a half, 14.
We really need 13.
6.5 is
6.5.
half of 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Monday morning, folks. We apologize.
6.5, 13. That one. We got this venting out the back of the unit now. Check. Now we're gonna locate our wiring on the bottom of that cabinet. And I guess we gotta buy a plug. Did it come with one?
Is that your? Oh man!
Dude, I swear I thought that was poop. And then you were like, I got that. And I reached in and grabbed it. I was like, you've lost your mind, bro.
Putting in a little ledger that's going to help us attach this stair to this front band because it's corner to corner. They don't actually touch. Now, we did something I think which is smart. We pre-drilled and installed these screws upside down so they're not hard to hold. In addition to that, we're getting it flushed up, and sometimes when you got a hard spot, you can get a buddy to help you. Right, struggling even more. All the concrete is placed inside the form. We made sure to bring the level of the concrete up right flush to the bottom of the 2x8 there. And by the way, this is ground contact rated 2x8 pressure treated material. You would not want to use stuff that is not ground contact rated. That'd be silly. So be sure to check. We didn't want to overfill the concrete though and have this wood set down in like a groove in the concrete because we don't want it to, you know, get stuck in water. So it's basically all flush, has to be touching and filled to the bottom, but not overfilled.
This will make 80 days. Wow. Build this whole house, start to finish. We're gonna finish building it today with a few just last minute things we gotta do. Let's get it done. Our concrete has set up overnight. Should be good enough to go ahead and peel the little form off the bottom edge. We're going to deck out the top of the step with our Trex decking. We're going to build in these missing handrail sections. We had already prepped enough material from the other rails so that we wouldn't have to go through that process again. So here I have some ripped and stained pieces. There are some pickets that are stained. We've got the 6x6s ready to route and cut and notch and bolt into place down here. And we'll get it all put together. Today we're going to do the ceremonial passing of the torch, which in this case is keys to your brand new house, buddy.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy it.
We love it.
You like your new house? Woo!
That's it. We're done.
Wow, man, it seems like we just started like only 80 working days ago.
It was 80 days ago. Exactly.
I guess that's why it feels that way.
So yeah, you saw every bit of it. 80 days, Perkins crew and the people we hired built this house up on a mountain, the farmhouse. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you haven't watched the whole thing, maybe you should start at day 1 and go through day 80. It only take you about 5 solid days.
You could pull a couple all-nighters and make it happen. You know, I'm kind of sad now that we're leaving.
Yeah, why?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
Thank you for building with us, and we will see you on the next one.